In the 11th chapter of the book of Genesis, the Bible describes a world where humanity possesses a single, unified language. They congregate in the land of Shinar and decide to build a city and a tower with its top in the heavens to make a name for themselves. But the divine response was not one of praise but of disruption. Genesis 11:7 reads, "Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." Today, we are witnessing the exact same linguistic collapse, but it isn't happening on a construction site in Mesopotamia. It is happening on TikTok. We view the current brainrot epidemic, the chaotic, seemingly nonsensical slang of Gen Alpha, as a harmless joke or a weird phase, but through a theological and sociological lens, de Skibidi, and Rizz are the modern bricks of a new Tower of Babel. We are building an infinite digital monument to our own vanity, and in response, our shared reality is being fractured. We are no longer speaking to one another. We are screaming in a confusion of tongues that has turned our global village into a silent, fragmented wasteland of slop. Fractured tongues. The primary mechanism of the Tower of Babel was the confusion of language. God did not destroy the tower with a lightning bolt. He simply made it impossible for the builders to coordinate. He introduced a noise into their signal. In the modern world, the brainrot lexicon, terms like Fanum Tax, mewing, mogging, and looksmaxing, functions as this divine noise. These are not merely new words. They are linguistic barriers designed to isolate the digital tribes from the rest of humanity. When a Gen Alpha child uses the phrase Skibidi Ohio Rizz with deadpan sincerity, they aren't just using slang, they are participating in a linguistic acceleration that moves faster than the human brain can process. Traditionally, slang took decades to evolve. Now, it evolves in weeks. By the time a parent learns what a sigma is, the term has already been hollowed out, irony poisoned, and replaced. This is the confusion of tongues in real time. We have reached a point where different generations and even different subcultures on the same platform no longer share a common speech. The language is the primary tool for social cohesion, but brainrot has turned language into a weapon of isolation. We are building a tower of content so high that the people at the bottom can no longer hear the people at the top. Digital hubris. In the biblical story, the Tower of Babel was an act of hubris, an attempt by man to reach the heavens and achieve a godlike status through unity. Our modern tower is the infinite feed. We have attempted to build a digital architecture that contains the sum total of all human experience, accessible at all times. We wanted to reach the heavens of total information and total connectivity, but as the tower grows taller, the mortar begins to crumble. The bricks of our tower are the 15-second clips, the GTA 5 megaramps, and the kinetic sand-cutting videos that play in the background of our lives. We are attempting to occupy the entire space of human attention. Peter Bruegel, the Elder's famous painting of the Tower of Babel, shows a massive spiraling structure that is technically impressive but fundamentally doomed because it lacks a unified foundation. Our digital foundation is the algorithm, which acts as the divine force in this allegory. The algorithm does not want us to understand each other. Understanding leads to stability, and stability is bad for watch time. The algorithm thrives on the confusion of the builders. It rewards the most radical, the most nonsensical, and the most brain-rotted content because that content bypasses the rational mind and hits the primal centers of the brain. We thought we were building a monument to human progress, but we have accidentally built a sensory prison that reaches for the clouds but leaves us stranded on the ground, unable to communicate the most basic human truths. Sensory slop. The sensory experience of the brainrot epidemic is one of aesthetic whiplash. If you look at a modern TikTok slop video, you will see a triple split screen. Overlaid on this is a hyper-fast text-to-speech voice narrating a nonsensical story about baby Gronk and the TikTok Rizz party. This is the sensory slop that acts as the distraction from our linguistic collapse. While the builders of Babel were confused by new words, we are being confused by a massive overproduction of stimuli. It is a violent contrast to the classical world. Imagine cutting from the stark, silent majesty of a cathedral to a video of someone doing a mega ramp in a neon-colored supercar. The slop is designed to paralyze the prefrontal cortex. It creates a state of continuous partial attention where we are present for everything but aware of nothing. Genesis 11:6 says of the builders, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them." The sensory overload of brain rot is the preventative measure. By flooding our senses with Skibidi toilet and looks-maxing tutorials, the system ensures that we can never unite. We are too busy mewing for the camera or tracking the Fanum Tax to notice that our ability to form complex, the revolutionary thoughts is being systematically dismantled. Linguistic borders. As the language of the builders was confused, the Bible says, "So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city." In the digital age, this scattering is the formation of the digital tribe. We have been scattered into niche algorithms, each with its own specific dialect of brain rot that is unintelligible to the tribe next door. The Sigma tribe doesn't speak the same language as the core tribe. The Gen Alpha Rizzler has nothing to say to the millennial doggo enthusiast. We are living in a state of permanent digital divide. The slang isn't a bridge, it's a border. By creating terms like mogging or gyat, Gen Alpha has created a linguistic fence that keeps the uninitiated out. This isolation is the ultimate goal of the confusion. When language breaks down, the community dies. You cannot have a functioning society when the youth speak in a code of brain rot that parodies the very idea of meaning. We are witnessing the death of the grand narrative. In the past, we had shared myths, shared stories, and a shared vocabulary. Now, we have a fragmented pile of memes. The Tower of Babel was abandoned because the workers couldn't agree on what a brick was anymore. We are abandoning the city of culture because we can't agree on what a word means anymore. The divine silence. The final result of the Tower of Babel was not just confusion, but a profound silence between people who used to be brothers. When the building stopped, the silence began. In our world, this silence is masked by the noise of the internet, but it is there. We are more connected than ever, yet we understand each other less than any generation in human history. We treat Skibidi toilet with irony, but the irony is a mask for the terror of realizing we have lost control of our own speech. We are intercutting heavy ancient Bible verses about the judgment of God with clips of hawk tuah because the contrast is the only way to feel the weight of what we've lost. The Bible warns that the Lord confused the language of the whole world. We are living in the ruins of that confusion. We are staring at a stark, silent screen after the TikTok scroll ends, realizing that for all the Rizz and aura we've accumulated, we are fundamentally alone in our storage jars. We are building a tower of slop that leads nowhere. You're fueled by an algorithm that views our confusion as a profit margin. Peter Bruegel's tower remains unfinished in the painting, a skeleton of stone and ambition. Our tower is a skeleton of fiber optics and brain rot memes. The brain rot epidemic isn't a trend, it is a judgment. Only puppets barking in a language that no one, not even the puppets themselves, truly understands. The Tower of Babel was a warning about what happens when humanity tries to bypass the divine and create its own reality. We have done exactly that. We created a digital reality where truth is whatever gets the most views and language is whatever the algorithm can monetize. The brain rot is the feedback loop of a system that has run out of things to say. When language can no longer evolve toward meaning, it devolves into noise. Skibidi is the sound of a civilization that has forgotten how to speak. Gyat is the sound of a generation that has been taught to view the human body as a thumbnail. We are standing at the base of a crumbling tower, looking at each other through the blue light of our phones, realizing that the confusion of tongues is complete. The tower has fallen, and all we have left is the slop.